let's start with Pauline.
Yeah.
Just a quick introduction so everybody knows where you're from and if you're in the show.
Okay, hi, I'm Pauline Chiarelli. I live right here in Huntington. I didn't have a long commute to that cafe application. In fact, I can walk to the gallery. I have the luxury of walking to the gallery from my apartment. So I'm very pleased to join them periodically throughout the year. I love their space. I love their energy. I love their members. So I'm very flattered. This is my third time that I've been accepted for a photography exhibition. So I'm very pleased that and honored to be selected again. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Megan?
So what happens?
Hi everyone, I'm Megan. I am in Allison, Iowa, so a tiny little town. This is my first time being accepted into the competition, so I'm very honored and thank you. I'm very excited for this opportunity.
That's cool.
Congratulations. I'm glad you could join us all the way from Iowa. Awesome. Let's see. Gareth, is that correct pronunciation?
Yeah, you did it well. Yes, I'm Gareth Jones. I'm living in Toronto, so I'm a fair distance away from Long Island. And I came across this competition for the first time this year and decided to enter. So I was delighted to be accepted for with one of my images, and thank you very much for that. And it's great to see everyone.
Quick question. How did you come across our competition?
I think I found it in call for entries or either call for entries or maybe cafe is another one. Yeah, one of those two. Those are the two main boards I look at, although I do look at other ones as well, but those are the two main ones.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Andrea. Unmute.
Okay, you're right.
Okay.
I'm a member of Fotofoto Gallery. I'm very honored to listen. I'm looking forward to listening to all of you and the juror as to why she chose what she chose. And that's it.
Welcome, Andrea. Thank you. Kathy?
Hi, I'm Kathleen, or Kathy. I am currently in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where it snowed last night. Crazy.
Well, we don't even have that in Canada right now.
I know. It's just, and but if you know anything about Santa Fe, the sun is actually just intense, and so most of the snow's gone. But winter came early. This is my first entry into the fotofoto competition. Really excited to be accepted, and it's just nice to meet everyone.
Congratulations. Thank you for joining us. Moti, is that correct?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
I'm Moti. I'm right here in town in Huntington. Very happy to be here. It's actually my second time being selected by this competition. I'm very honored. I'll apologize in advance that I won't be able to stay the whole time. I have guests here who came for dinner, so I'm trying to delay them as long as I can, but I'm here for now.
Well, you're certainly welcome to ask them to join us. Okay. Thank you, Moti. Okay, Stephen.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Levine. I live in White Plains. I live in New Rochelle, New York. Not quite as much of a distance as some of you, but not in walking distance. My first time accepted. I'm very honored and very much appreciated. Nice to see you all.
Thank you for joining us, and congratulations both to you and to Moti. Brenda.
What do I do?
Oh.
Hi, everyone. My husband is a Zoom expert, so I'm kind of like, keep turning to him. I'm Brenda Welty. I'm from York, Pennsylvania, and I am originally from Baltimore, Maryland.
just really happy to be part of it. Very excited to see congratulations on my email, but I did find out about it through Cafe as well. So really nice to meet you all and really excited to hear what everyone has to say.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Nancy, hi.
Hi, I'm Nancy Ward. I'm from a small town in north central Indiana, and this competition was one of the very first that I entered through Cafe. So this is all very new to me, and I just really took up photography just a couple of years ago and having a lot of fun with it. So I'm honored to having been invited, and look forward to the meeting.
Oh, we're happy to have you. Glad to be among the first. And congratulations. Colin, can you hear us? Guess not. Okay, Lisa, hi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa. I'm located in Albany, New York, but I'm a Long Island girl by heart and actually will be down tomorrow to visit. I'm from Northport originally, and my dad will come. And my dad's the artist. I'm the photographer. And this was my first time applying, so I was looking for things closer to the island to make sure I got a chance to come down and visit if possible. And I was so thrilled and honored to be included with this group. Thank you so much.
That's excellent. Do you have any idea what time are you planning on coming to the gallery or?
Yeah, we were planning to come to the gallery tomorrow, like noon or 1. I got to check in with them. We're actually going to hop in the car after this and drive down.
Okay.
I'm avoiding Long Island traffic as much as possible.
Yes, we just, Eileen, we want to make sure we have coverage at the gallery tomorrow because I know we had someone make a change. I want to make sure that the gallery is open when you're there. I think we definitely have coverage from 2:30 until 6.
I'm looking right.
Yes, I'm there 2:30 to 6.
I'll make sure we get there at 2:30. How's that?
Awesome. Okay, because I'd hate for you to come all that way and then
we'd go find something to eat. We'd hang around, you know, that's okay.
Yeah, no, look forward to meeting you.
That's
Okay,
terrific. Okay,
right.
thank you. Thank you. Let's see, Jaleesa, can you hear me? Jaleesa? Okay. Pierre, hi.
Lisa, just unmute it.
Hi, my name is Pierre Hauser, originally from California, San Francisco. I live in New York now. This is my second time being in the phonography show, and I'm delighted to be part of it. I've also been in a show of photographs taken with a regular camera at fotofoto as well. And right now I'm in New Orleans so that I can attend the New Orleans Film Festival because my daughter has a film that she produced in the festival.
Oh.
So yeah, I may not be able to stay for the whole thing.
Okay. Okay. Welcome and congratulations. And Chris.
Thank you.
Hi, welcome. Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris. Live in Glen Cove, and this is like time I've submitted, but the first time I was, and the first time I placed, and it was really kind of a shock. I was at Comic-Con when I started reading all my emails, and I'm going, oh yeah, and then the last one like just stopped me in my tracks. I was like,
yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations.
It was a thrill, a real thrill. So yeah.
Chris is a regular supporter of our gallery as well, so I'm thrilled for you too. Chris, your connection is a little bit wonky. My suggestion, it's in and out. If you have any other devices on or near your whatever you're connected to, like either turn them off or take them somewhere else. So, and it should help you to get a little bit better connection.
Maybe
What?
Alexa.
Oops, Chris?
You lost.
Yeah, I unplugged Alexa. So
I'm sorry?
Am I doing it? Am I good?
Say something.
Alexa is now unplugged.
Oh, that's it.
Okay, all right.
That's better.
I think you're better.
Yeah, she is.
Okay.
That's funny. I never thought like that would interfere. Wow.
Well, any number of device, when you have more than one device on, it will interfere sometimes. And okay, Joe, you're up. Joe, hi.
He's muted.
Oh, Joe, yeah, unmute. Joe?
Hi,
Ah, here we go. Thank you.
how you doing?
Okay.
I'm good. Thank you again for this opportunity. I was glad to get to meet you the other night. And looking forward to maybe showing with you again at the next one.
Great attitude. I love it. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me tell you just a little bit about the gallery so we can, then we'll move on to the reason that we're here. Fotofoto Gallery was founded almost 20 years ago, believe it or not. And it is a photographers collective. I'll read you our little blurb here. Dedicated to the artistic development of photographers, both its members and the greater community. We sponsor an extensive calendar of exhibitions, workshops, salons, competitions, and special events. And as I said, we were formed in 2003, and we are a nonprofit. So next year will be our 20th year, which is incredible. We have solo shows, we have group shows, currently running with the show that you're in right now are 2 solo shows, one by Fotofoto Gallery artist Paul Mille, and the other one by Bruce Cohen. So when you come in to see the phonography show, please plan on spending some time seeing the other ones as well. Okay, so phonography, I'm going to jump right into it. This was our 8th International Phone-ography competition, and the most, I don't think of cell phones as being phones anymore. They are cameras that make phone calls, you know, and depending on the app that you have, they can easily have all the features of an SLR. And just one real quick thing I'll say, because I believe it wholeheartedly, and it's cliche, but it's true. The best camera that you have is the one that's right with you. And it doesn't matter which camera you have, if you're not looking, if you're not seeing, if you're not really, you know, grabbing a hold of what grabs your attention too. So I want to, I'm going to share the screen in a moment. I want to thank Erika Berkowitz again for doing a wonderful job of jurying our show. It's an exciting show. It's cool. It's a very exciting, very diverse, interesting show, and the feedback has been phenomenal. I know you had to select 30 pieces out of, I believe, 419. So that's quite a task. So let me go ahead and share the screen. Make sure everything is working here. And hold on.
Second place.
Okay, can everybody see the screen okay?
Yeah.
Give me a heads up here. All right. We had a live reception at the gallery on Saturday, October 22nd. Several of you were there. It was a fantastic reception. We were just packed to the gills, and the conversations were phenomenal.
Listen, we all have something. We all have something.
What?
So, like I said,
I can't, I'm sorry, what, who's talking?
The sound is coming back from Andrea's website.
Andrea? Andrea, can you mute yourself, Andrea?
Okay.
Or Eileen, can you mute Andrea?
I don't want to keep you long.
And Eileen, can you mute Andrea?
I just did.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so, okay, so the exhibit is up until November 12th. And say a little bit about Erika. She has her bachelor's degree in art history from Stony Brook University and her master's degree in contemporary art from Sotheby's Institute of Art. She has worked locally on Long Island at Nassau County Museum of Art and the Islip Art Museum, and in Manhattan at established galleries in Chelsea, Fifth Avenue, Midtown, and Soho. She has been working in the art world for over 15 years and is also a self-published author. Along with her husband, she has been collecting art for over a decade. Erika is the director and owner of Haven Gallery, which, if you have not seen it, is one of the most intriguing, fascinating galleries I think I have ever seen. Okay, with that, please welcome Erika.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to meet you all, and thank you so much for submitting to this exhibition. And even more so, thank you for creating artwork and expressing yourselves. I'm very excited to be here and meet all of you. I really enjoyed the process of reviewing everyone's photography. It was quite challenging because I don't look at photography very often. My gallery does focus more on traditional media, such as painting and sculpture, but we do have a couple photographers. So it was a bit of a challenge, but also quite fun to be able to think within the context of the gallery, but also bringing in new perspectives and understandings as far as the mediums go. So for the selection process, if I can talk about that a little bit, I try to apply my business practices as well as what resonated with me personally. So heartfelt selections, as well as selections for the gallery and for all of you artists that I think provided, as Pamela mentioned, a diverse aesthetic in both technique and subject matter, mood, palette, and so on, but also imagery that I think resonated with a large group of people. Running a gallery for over 7 years, I try to pick work that I feel for the gallery, and also in this sense for this competition, that shows technique, it shows thoughtfulness, care, precision in medium, but also would open up, I think, to as wide of an audience as possible. Because I know, as I'm sure everyone at fotofoto intends as well, we want to get you guys as much exposure and as much financial compensation from sales as possible. So I really try to apply my business strategies as well as what warmed my own heart in looking at the beautiful imagery that was submitted for the selection process. It's very difficult being an artist. It's very difficult running a gallery. Anything within the arts itself, it's a very personal means of expression, but it also connects and brings people together in such a beautiful way that I felt that the work selected truly embodied that. And I was very grateful and excited to have the opportunity to select the 30 people a part of the show and have them hung at the gallery. So thank you, Pamela and Eileen, for all of your help throughout this process. And again, thank you to all the artists that participated and has shared a part of their world.
Thank you. I do want to mention one other person because he's not here tonight. He's actually on a photo shoot, and that is Paul Mille. He was also, I believe he was the person who originally reached out to Erika to ask her to be our juror. And Paul and I hung the show, and that's always a challenge because we want to hang the show in such a way that the first thing you notice when you come in to the gallery is not how it's hung, but all the pieces.
Yes.
And to see them for the beautiful pieces that they are. And Paul is terrific at that. So I want to give him a shout out too. Okay. So Erika, do you want to speak a little bit? And then if the person is here, have some feedback from them or?
Of course, and I encourage dialogue. So as I speak about each of your work, if anybody wants to contribute, artist or otherwise, I'm always quite happy to go back and forth and learn from you too.
Okay, terrific. First up is Tricia Wright. And the title of her piece is Untitled, and she was our first place winner. I don't believe Tricia is here tonight, which is unusual. So something very important must have been going on. So, okay, Erika.
Yeah, I'm happy to speak on her behalf as best as I can. So I will point out that it was very difficult to pick 3 out of the 30, as it was quite difficult to pick 30 out of the 400 something submissions. I do feel like every piece in this show was very strong, and I really enjoyed looking at the work, and now knowing you guys, looking into you guys as well. So for this particular piece, I enjoyed the artist's decision to go monochromatic. I really enjoyed the female form as it exists parallel to the environment itself that the photography was shot in. I like the anonymity of the person being depicted. I find that sometimes when there's too much of a specific presence, it could push some people away from connecting, because people like to see themselves and their loved ones and their friends. So this person in particular becomes more of a figment of her environment. The female form, human forms in general are natural, and seeing the nude form, if you will, within the landscape, I think was although done quite often, it was very tasteful in this sense. And again, how the body itself, the shape echoes the environment is quite lovely. So this one stood out to me quite, significantly because of that. And I also appreciate the lighting, I should say.
Thank you for your reference about the anonymity and what that allows the viewer, how it allows the viewer to engage even more. Fascinating. Folks, if there's anybody who would like to speak about this image or has a comment, please don't hesitate. So okay, we'll move on to the next one. I think Jalissa Peterson, I don't believe she was ever able to connect with the audio. I saw only her name before. So Jalissa Peterson is our second place award winner with Fraternal Twin Sisters. Wonderful image.
Yeah, so this actually was against my anonymity point in the image before, but there's just something so engaging, something so happy, and something so warm about their smiles and their engagement with the photographer. Again, that monochromatic palette, I'm not partial to black and white imagery over color necessarily, but I feel like it was the right choice as with the image before. And the image just makes me feel so good. There's something that is very simple about the environment. It's not overrun with all the technology and civilization, if you will, that we see so often today. So it feels quite nostalgic, and it's just, I don't know, it just made me smile, and it made me feel quite happy. The idea of youth and not knowing about all that's to come with adulthood, the hardships, the darkness and whatnot, it just takes me back. And so I very much enjoyed the subject and the approach to the photography in this case.
I personally feel the engagement on 3 different levels here, with each other, with the photographer, and with me as the viewer.
Absolutely.
And that's very accomplished.
I agree.
I love that. Anyone have a comment about this piece? It's a wonderful piece. I can see why you selected it, for sure. And next up, and Chris is here, Chris Medio, Gamecock Cottage through a lens ball, 3rd place award winner, and congratulations again, Chris.
So this was a bit more my personal taste, because I do love a beautiful landscape. I love the natural colors, the heaviness of the blue of the sky, and of course, and I apologize because I'm not well versed in terminology within the photography world, but the lens effect that took place here is quite striking. I love how it feels like it's its own little world that we're invited to come join in or see. It's a little voyeuristic for the viewer, but it's in a very kind of engaging and warm is a word I use a lot way. And it's a beautiful moment in time, and it represents just that, how time is fleeting, how time moves, whether we move with it or not. And so it's a beautiful representation of life and nature.
Chris?
It's a lens ball. It's a lens ball.
What is a lens ball?
And it's a highly polished piece of glass, and it's about 60 millimeters, and it's a really cool little device to have. You get some really amazing shots. I've done it with sunsets. I go down to Seacliff Beach. I get on the bench, and I just if it's an amazing sunset, I got some really amazing shots from that And I love using it. It's heavy to carry around though. I don't carry it with me that often, but it is kind of heavy.
How big is it, Chris?
It's about, it's a 60 millimeter ball.
Right.
Or millimeter. And it's heavy. It's about, can you see me? It's about that big.
Yes. Yes.
It's quite a piece of glass. I've dropped a couple of them, and they damage easily if you drop them.
One of the comments. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
They come in like different sizes. I have a 40 millimeter one. I have a smaller one that I take with me at times.
As a photographer myself, and my background is in drawing and printmaking, but as a photographer, I'm always very much aware of how easily a piece can be overwhelmed by technology. And I think in this piece in particular, and this is a very commonly photographed location on Long Island. I think in this place, my thoughts are in this piece in particular that you've used the lens ball in a way to focus our attention, but for me, it's not about the technology. You know, it's about the piece. I don't know, what are your thoughts about that, Erika?
Well, being nascent with technological tools and approaches, I thought this was some kind of camera effect. I'm drawn to it just the same nonetheless, and I think it's quite cool that it's something that is not, it's not a technological object, then it's just kind of like a ball that has a polished surface. So I am someone who leans more towards tradition. I love technology and I understand its importance. And I'm not familiar with this location or the prevalence of this location within photography. So for me, it was my first time seeing it within this context. Again, I think it's beautiful. It represents a moment in time to me, and it feels like it's moving, even though it's a still work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Chris. Does anyone have any
Thanks.
questions for Chris? Any comments at all? Chris, was there anything else you wanted to add?
Oh, I think Garrett asked a question before. Yes, it's turned upside down. I turned it upside down. It's on a stand. It was on a tripod on a suction cup, and I turned it upside down in processing.
Okay.
Which I didn't really do a lot of processing. That's about the only thing I did was just turn it upside down.
Eileen, if you could let us know if anybody has made any comments in the chat that, if anyone has any questions, we'd be sure.
Sure.
And,
I mean,
pay attention to that.
Gareth Jones asked on this picture, do you take it on a stand and then turn it upside down for the picture?
Yes, and Chris, that's what you were just speaking to, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
and that's about it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next up, Beth Atkinson. I believe she is away at a wedding. Beth is a local artist who runs the Firefly Artists in Northport, New York.
Yeah, I know Beth. She's wonderful, and Firefly Gallery is awesome too. If you guys are in town or local to visit. And this particular image stuck out to me because it feels so dreamy and ethereal. Although it's a moment that we would witness on a nightly basis without thinking twice, I think the still of a moment like this makes you kind of stop and really appreciate what's beyond just available to us. It allows you to kind of strike your imagination and just kind of feel something a bit more dreamy and ethereal. I love nature, and I love, the night sky. I love how there's, the beauty of the tree present, and you're not losing it too much within the darkness of the night, as well as the different textures and color gradations that are in the sky. It's a beautiful image, and I could see people enjoying it, quite a lot.
It's beautiful. One of the things I loved about this too is I would never have guessed in a million years that this was Beth's work. Beth is known for her very clean-edged prints. She's a printmaker. and obviously a photographer as well. So a wonderful piece, wonderful piece. Okay, let's see. Next up, Ralph Blessing.
Yeah.
Rainfall Rendezvous.
So this was another image that I feel like a lot of people can relate to. There's a great narrative here. The reflection is unbelievable. I mean, it's a reflection of something you can't see within the actual context of what's photographed. And I just love how there's much to kind of create in your mind. There's probably so many different stories that people would come up with each person approaching the work and seeing it. It's, I think, an iconic image because it's an image that you probably have seen in different variations. You have that kind of, you know, rainy, wet street, and you have the two people. Typically it's a couple, but I like how there's something a bit more ambiguous about these two figures. We, you know, I mean, I don't know if they're kissing or they're hugging or they're talking or engaging, but I like that because I don't want to be told too much of a story. I like room for myself and for the viewers to kind of come to their own conclusions. And that reflection is fantastic, and I really appreciated the cropping of the image itself.
It's beautiful, really beautiful, stunning. Okay, Pauline is here. Congratulations, Pauline. Pauline Chiarelli, is that correct?
Pretty close.
Pauline?
Yep, yep. Pretty close.
Oh, okay. Tell me what is close? What's the correct pronunciation?
Oh, Shirley is fine.
Okay, and
you did well.
Okay, Apollo Theater. Okay.
So I selected this image because I think the black and white palette was key to creating a mood. There's that kind of like cloudy ghostly apparition that comes up on the top left corner, as well as almost like a darker sense coming in from the right, whether that's a sky or clouds or a mixture of lighting. I just find that it creates a haunting effect. Of course, the Apollo Theater is, you know, a very, you know, respected and iconic place. So I appreciate the selection of the subject of this particular location as well. But it makes me personally feel as if for me, it's time again. Time is moving. This almost feels like it's something of the past. So the use of that kind of smoky apparition like cloudscape, I don't know if that was like an embellishment that was done after the photography had occurred. If you don't mind elaborating on that or letting me know that that was just something that you caught at that moment, I just love it. And another detail I really find interesting is that figure in the top window. He's just, he or she, I'm not sure who was in that window, but again, it's spooky to me and it's fun and it can represent so much. So really, I think it was, you know, a fantastic moment that you captured, whether, you know, it was put together and planned or it just happened serendipitously. It's just a wonderfully engaging image.
Oh, thank you so much. This was a stop in Martinsburg, West Virginia. It wasn't my destination at all. We have family out of state and it was a long day of traveling. And I'd heard there was a really interesting train station in this town. And that's why we stopped. The light was low. The brick in the train station, the round buildings of those complexes were absolutely mesmerizing. The ironwork, I stayed there probably, you know, a lot longer than our trip could require. We were starving to death, but it was worth the stop in the town. And we started to realize there was nobody on the streets. I mean, nobody on the streets. And we decided it's time for us to leave and get going. And we made a turn and I saw this building and I had to stop. And my husband is yelling out the window, "Make it quick!" And it was kind of frightening. We were alone, and I honestly never saw the figure on the third floor until I developed it later.
Wow.
And that made it for me. I mean, that made it for me. But the fact was, this was the saddest little town. I other than this historic train station, I didn't quite understand why people stayed, and it was very sad. It was impoverished area. It was real spooky, and the texture was added later. But there was no way I could do this justice without doing black and white because the tonality of the colors wasn't pleasing. So I used the tonality to enrich the black and white. So that's it.
Is the light altered, Pauline? That wonderful hanging down up there in the upper left.
That's a post-processing. I think that's from a Nick filter.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well done.
I think
love it. Thank you.
it's so awesome that you didn't notice that figure until later.
No, no, later, and then I was hooked.
You know, and I've driven through these towns like this where you have this beautiful architecture and you can just feel the life that was once there, and they're
Right.
so vacant now. And of course, some people still remain, but it's really depressing. And
right next to that building was a white building on the right-hand side, and there was a very old black man smoking a cigarette out on this lonely broken iron railing on the sidewalk, and up above him was signs I did not put into this picture. It was just Trump, 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 Trump. It was like every Trump sign packed into one layer of every window. And I could just imagine maybe this guy's security in this building. And it just seemed like it couldn't come together as a good submission, but it was a moment that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Yeah. A wonderful shot. Congratulations, Pauline.
Thank you so much, Pam.
Next up, Tanya Cowan, Car Rainbow. I don't believe Tanya is with us.
I'm happy, you know, as I'm speaking about all the works, hopefully I do her justice. This image, I love dualities. I love the sense of hope and beauty and perhaps rebirth that stems from that rainbow. It's a great shot of the rainbow itself. And then of course you have, you know, death, you have destruction, you have something negative and something very difficult emotionally to absorb. And so kind of reflecting the cycle of life, an age-old theme that artists do very often, but I found that it was quite beautiful here using a more contemporary approach with the car, with the highway. We don't know what happened to these people. We hope they're okay. We've all, I'm sure, been in close calls or accidents or know loved ones who have been in accidents, and you know, the emotional strain, the PTSD, the loss, the grieving, all of that. I think having that rainbow support in the background, the double rainbow, I should say, because there is a double rainbow. I'm sorry. It's something that I experienced. Like, you know, I've lost, you know, people, and I found that, you know, seeing a rainbow, double rainbow, triple rainbow, it helps kind of wash the sadness away, and it helps kind of help you move on. So I really enjoyed that. You know, I don't know if this was captured intentionally or not. Maybe they were just driving by and they found this opportunity, but it's, I don't know, I just feel like it's a very strong image, and it's something that we can all connect with.
Thank you for the insight. It's a powerful juxtaposition. Emotion.
It feels very hopeful, even though there's destruction present.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, Lisa, I believe Lisa is here. And is it Diadamo Weinstein? Is Lisa here or no?
I know, you got that well.
Oh, great. Okay, dog meets cow. Love it. Okay. Erika?
Oh, you want me to start? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I never want to overstep anybody. So this obviously is just a really happy image. It brings me great joy. I love that awesome cow in the background, and I think it's a corgi, just kind of staring them down, and it just reminds me of how dogs, no matter what the size, and cats, they think they're much bigger and much, you know, braver than they are. So it's as if they're having this kind of like stare off, and this steer is, I don't know if I'm correct with like the animals terminology. He's just so majestic and regal, and that background I think is stunning. You have that, I think it's a sunset, it could be a sunrise, but nonetheless, it's just such a playful and fun image, and I could find it giving a lot of people a great enjoyment. So I couldn't resist.
Hey, Lisa, would you like to say anything about the image?
Sure, it is a sunset, and it's at my happy place up here outside of Albany. It's a place called June Farms, and this is for dog park night. So they open up this place every Thursday night in the summers, and so it was our place to go to during COVID, and to be able to be outdoors, feel safe, feel happy, and to bring our COVID pup. And she is a little corgi, part beagle, part terrier, and it was just this moment. It's a Scottish Highland cattle is the breed that he has there. And they just come right up. We're sipping cocktails near this too, so it's extra happy.
Oh, yes.
And I turned around and it was that, I've been intentionally taking pictures of the cows, and I turn around and I look and there's the perfect image. So I got down low and got the photo, and they've actually used some of this to put on like their social media every once in a while, just to say, come to dog park night. So it was serendipity. It is also not, besides me taking pictures of my pup, it's not necessarily the type of photography I do. I like a lot of macro, but in some ways, you get that with her ears and stuff in here. So thank you so much for recognizing the joy and happiness in this photo.
It's amazing.
The cow's expression is perfect.
It's so good. And knowing what a wonderful place it is for you to be able to go and enjoy and spend time with your animals and with other animals and others. It's just wonderful.
That's great. Congratulations. Okay, next up, Moti is here. Moti Dogan, After the Storm.
Yep.
Hey, yeah.
Do you want me to start, or do you want to start, Multi?
Oh, go ahead, please.
So this was just a really beautiful image to me. I just love the way that the snow was captured on the branches in contrast to that kind of cotton candy pink sky. It's just, I like seasonal imagery. I find that it's just relaxing. This image in particular is quite tranquil. And I felt that, again, my business mind, that others coming into the gallery, people finding the works on social media and so on, can really kind of feel at ease. There's just a beautiful sense of calmness within this moment that you've captured. And I love looking at it.
Thank you. Thank you. It's just me walking down my street after one of those snowstorms with the real wet snow that clings to the branches and really looked like winter wonderland all around.
Very much.
And with these beautiful late afternoon skies behind, it was just very, very pretty. And I'm glad I was able to get my hand out of my winter pocket and have a shot.
Definitely worth it.
This is the kind of image that inspires poetry.
Yes. And it inspires you to really stop and appreciate what's around you. And I think that only photography can really kind of capture and remind you of that.
Yeah. Congratulations, Moti. It's a beauty.
Hey, thanks very much.
Eileen, is there anything in the chat that we need to go to? Any questions, anything?
Oh, well, just a lot of comments on how great those images we just saw were. I mean, Gareth said, fun image, terrific look, lovely alignment of the ears, talking about the dog and the cow.
Yeah.
I said that dogs meeting other creatures can be an entire series.
Yes.
That's about it. Nothing else.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Richard, I didn't see Rich here, and Rich is. Are you here, Richard? No. And he has been a supporter of our gallery for a long time. Richard Froman, Mute Swan. Erika?
So I think I have themes that of imagery that are popular within my own heart. I just love a good reflection, and I love the simplicity and elegance of this moment. Just the harsh, contrast of the white against the black, and then that beautiful rippled reflection, and then the elegance of the form of the swan. It's just such a beautiful capture. And again, just so simple. You don't have crazy, details within landscapes or, colors or anything like that. It's minimalist, and it's done right. And I just found it to be so elegant.
It's beautiful. It could have just as easily been called Grace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
And the title's interesting too. I would have been curious to know the selection of the title, perhaps because the beak itself is underwater. It doesn't allow for conversation, but just the loop of the neck itself, it's just very beautiful.
A wonderful piece.
Great form.
Joe is here. Joseph Gatuli, Untitled.
So this is another case where you kind of have this like little moment, this detail of the natural world. And in this case, it's almost abstracted to me. I presumed, and maybe I'm wrong, that there, was some kind of like blanket and some, kind of like cold weather, and you have that hand out, and the hand is, it just feels like the warmth of the sun is warming that person's hand, or perhaps they're reaching for it. I think there's a multi-meaning present here, and I really enjoy that. Again, as I mentioned earlier, with one of the other participants, just having like an image that can create so many different conclusions from different people. But for me, this one did feel more hopeful. I found that everything's been so dark for so many years now. So images like this that represent a positivity, a sense of light, a sense of warmth always, touch me quite strongly. And I do feel like this perspective, this kind of cool blue palette that was chosen, and even the sun itself, is quite cool. There's not much yellow at all. It's more so kind of like a white light. It could perhaps represent life, some kind of, I don't know, astral being, if you will. There's so much to kind of, I think, pull from what you're seeing here, and you can go in so many different directions. And so for me, it felt quite positive. So those are all different elements that I think made me connect strongly with this image.
Joe?
Great, thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Of course, thank you for, doing what you do.
Is there anything you'd like to add, Joe?
No, I'm really just interested in what she had to say.
As you know, I spoke to you for a while about this image,
Yeah, we
and
did.
it was intriguing to see, to both watch and hear how visitors engaged with this piece.
Yes.
And how there was a moment of discovery when it finally dawned on them what was actually going on, that it was not just a landscape.
It is quite different. That's why I'm curious, like, where you were looking at it from a creative point of view, or from a business point of view, or
both. I really try to apply both, because I can't stand behind anything if I don't connect with it personally. But I also have to always keep in mind that I'm one person, and when we're artists and when we're creatives, we're sharing what we do with as many people as possible. And so we always want to have open, paths to others to connect and tether, one another together in that sense. And as Pamela mentioned, and as I've learned with other people viewing the work, I mean, it does look like a landscape. And when I first, looked at the work without really spending time, it all of a sudden unraveled itself to me, and it was almost this kind of like surprise gift, and it was really incredible. So it's really awesomely done and thought out.
Great, thank you. I really appreciate that. I kind of lean towards that type of abstract type of different work. Pamela's seen some of my other stuff as well. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, Joe. Wonderful piece.
Thank you, Pam.
Okay, next up, Judith Gunther, Weeping Birch. I don't think Judith is with us.
This image in particular stood out to me for a couple of reasons, as they all do. I love the palette. I just love greens and blues, as I mentioned with a previous photograph that we just looked at. And I love the touches of pinks and the other colors present. It's again a reminder of just kind of taking in the beauty that's around us and stopping and appreciating nature. This tree in particular is very interesting to me. I love gnarled, misshapen, kind of crazy looking trees. And I love how this image overall, because there's so much activity, it becomes almost more of an abstraction. And so it kind of supports more of like a sense of mood and like a triumph of color, if you will. So although it is realism, it is something that we see on the day-to-day, and we should appreciate it as it is. It also allows us to kind of view nature differently and break up the forms and the colors, and just appreciate it from many different vantage points.
Thank you. It's a beautiful image. And Pierre is here, Pierre Hauser and Belvedere Castle.
I love beautiful architecture as well, hence the presence of buildings in many of my selections, and of course reflections in nature and landscape. I just thought that the composition, the sky, just the location, everything was just, I don't know if it was as in some cases something that kind of just caught you out of nowhere, or if this one was scouted and planned. but I feel like it's beautiful. It's something that you would never get bored looking at. And I feel like, how could you not stop and just take in the majesty and the beauty that you've captured? So thank you.
Pierre?
Thank you for your kind words. And obviously what attracted so I took this picture on a walk in Central Park during COVID, where I would go to get a little taste of nature and feel, outside. But I was definitely attracted by the nature of the clouds, the color of the trees, and the reflection. So, it's more nature's doing than mine, but I'm happy I captured it.
I am too. And you stopped us all and really made us engage and look. And, especially during COVID, it was so hard for creatives to go out there and still do what they do. And, because you still went out there and did what you did, you gave hope and you gave solace and comfort and a place to escape, for so many people. And this work.
Thank you for saying that.
So
thank you. It's another stunner.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And congratulations, Pierre.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Gary Hensler, Alan, excuse me, Kat. I don't think Gary is here.
Well,
but
yeah,
we actually, I wish that I had some gallery shots to show you guys too, because this shot is hanging next to one of the other cat shots where the cat is appearing to like look through an opening in a piece of architecture, and it's really interesting to see how the pieces interact with each other as well.
I saw the photos, which I thought looked awesome. I meant to say that earlier, that you guys really, you and Paul laid out and hung everything as if I would. I mean, and I know how challenging it is. I do it every month with, an array of different artworks, and to kind of find ways to hang the work where as a whole, it's very strong and presentable, but you're also focusing on the individual pieces to make sure that none are overshined or competing too much with others. It's not easy. So you guys did a fantastic job.
Thanks.
And I mean, this is more my personal coming out because I have cats, and I have, as Pamela was wondering before, I had someone come over to hang out with me while I was on here. I love animals, and I think a lot of people love animals, and whether that animal looks like their own family member or otherwise, people connect with them. And I think that it's important for us to look at all living beings, as respectfully and as admirably as possible. And so I just have a natural connection to cats. I've just grown up with them, and I found that this shot in particular was just, it's quiet, it's beautiful, it's contemplative. I love the whitewash of the stairs and the walls. That almost becomes an abstraction because it's not a specific location. It's just kind of white with some, dark spots and cracks. And then of course the cat itself, you don't know much about him or her. But to me, there was an age to this cat, and the location itself feels a bit old too. And so I just kind of like that almost timeless feel. We don't know when this, cat was around, where this photo was taken, the mystery itself is just, I don't know, it just made me think. And so I just thought it was a nice capture.
It's a beautiful shot. Looks great in the gallery.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. I was like, I can't take too many animals. I don't want to, go too crazy. But when I'm, as Pamela mentioned, I think before we all started, all I do is take photos of my cats with my phone, because I don't, and I try not to post too many of them, and I am not a photographer by any means. But
they're all feel-good shots.
They make you feel good.
Are.
And there's something very special about, all living beings, but especially animals, the innocence and the, very innate
yes,
workings of their minds. So I very much appreciate those subjects.
In the images of your cats that you do post, they most definitely have very different personalities.
Oh, they do.
And that comes through for sure.
Well, all animals.
This next piece, people have tried to figure out how it was done. And Gareth, are you here?
I am.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about this piece.
Oh, that means you think I'm going to tell you, though. I will.
Okay. Do you want Erika to go first?
Sure, let's hear it.
Okay.
So it's the mystery, as well as a few other things that really engaged me with this image. Trying to figure out, as Pamela mentioned, what is going on here? What is this exactly? But also just the dynamicism, the play of colors, the movement, just it's almost like this internal moment, and it could be microscopic or it could be macroscopic, and I don't know what it is. And I feel like I'm constantly, going different places within my mind trying to figure it out, and I still haven't been able to figure it out. So if you both share your secrets, I'm sure one of them would enjoy that very much to hear.
Yeah, well, that's great. What you've just summarized is what I tried to do with this image. This was a time when using my phone, I was taking pictures of what I would call regular objects and things like that, or regular images. And I was learning, or exploring, maybe is a better word, to see what I could do with them. In fact, I created a whole series where I would show people the finished image and let them guess what the original was. So you're doing exactly that. What the heck was it originally? And so I use all the software is on my phone. I didn't take it into any post-processing other than my phone, except I did put it into Lightroom to bring up the colors a touch more, just have a bit more control on the fine tuning of the image. But the shaping of it and the creation of it was all done in software on my phone. I do have the original photograph ready to show you if you'd like to see it.
Yeah.
All we'd have to do is, if you stop sharing the screen for a moment, I'd share mine, and then we could jump back to this image.
Okay.
Would
Let
that
me
be
do
okay?
that. Okay. Here we go.
All right, so I will share mine. So that image originally was that. Can you see it?
Here we go. Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, that's a good sound. Can we do that again? Everyone together? That was lovely. I feel. Yeah. So this is a fold-out paper decoration sunburst, multicolor sunburst.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I took lots of pictures of it because I really loved. I was actually at this point looking at taking pictures to show layers. I wanted to see layers and play with the layers. And it was only after I took this picture that I thought, oh, actually, this would be great for the series I was doing, where I wanted to push people's imaginations into an abstract sense. So I'll stop sharing now. We can go back to the slideshow.
Okay.
Now you know what it is. Are we good?
Yeah.
There we
go.
are.
There we go.
Well, I just have to jump in and say this because you tuned into something that I love about when I'm working on certain pieces. I love it when I really enjoy working on certain pieces, and it brings me such joy. And you can see that you were just having a great time with this.
Yes.
Well, that's great to hear. Thank you very much. And I'm really pleased you chose it. What this part is now, so one of the things I can do in one of the programs I've got, the apps on the phone, is I can create a torus effect. And a torus is basically a donut. And so if you go inside a donut, this is what it would actually look like in terms of its shape. So I took that first image and put it into a torus, and then I twirled it a little bit and mirrored it a little bit. And I ended up with what I call, because I'm doing all that twirling and turning, I called it a cyclone whirl. And that was the finished product. But I love creating these bold abstracts that really push people's imaginations. People see so many different things, and most people love the colors, and I get lots of comments about colors from it. But then the second sort of wave, if you will, is what the heck is it? How did you do it? And I really, really like it for some reason. So I take all of those as really wonderful compliments.
I'm happy to tell you that, we've mentioned Paul Mealy several times, who is a vice president, who's one of our photographers, and who also printed all of the images in the show. And your print looks like this.
Oh, fantastic.
It does.
I have it printed on aluminum with a high gloss picture, and it just
Perfect.
pops right out of it. Yeah.
That aluminum is great.
Thank you very much again for choosing it.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Hey, Erica, did you want to add anything?
It just feels so interdimensional. It feels alien, but it's something so common and familiar, which makes me, now knowing the source, enjoy it even more. So thank you for sharing that.
You'll think about it the next time you eat a donut too now, I guarantee it.
Thank you for sharing your process.
Or
Yeah.
one of those rainbow bagels, because these kind of,
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
right?
Awesome. Okay, so we move on to a little calmer image of Kelly Jocelyn and ataraxia.
Is Kelly on, or is it just
Ataraxia.
do we have Kelly on with us?
I don't think so. Kelly? No.
No.
Okay.
So I have no idea what the title means. But for me, I always look at the title last because I like to engage with an image without having any kind of, I don't know, information that's going to lead me to think something different than how I would organically. This is another example of just a tranquil representation of nature, but I do very much like how it seems as if Kelly merged the sky, flipped it, if you will, with the landscape itself. There's beautiful play of texture and light and color. It's soothing, it's calming. I felt from a business perspective, a lot of people could feel comfort and tranquility from this image. And it's just another one where you just could enjoy looking at it for quite some time.
It has an almost ephemeral quality about it as well.
Yeah. And the clouds themselves, I mean, they remind me of like I don't know if it's like dandelions, I guess. I think they're dandelions that have like the fluffy heads. And although I believe this is clouds from a sky, I could be wrong. I mean, I apologize if I am, but it's just everything kind of coming together and just reminding us how everything is connected. The plants obviously need the sky, they need the sun to grow and to be nurtured. And so the place that all things have within all things, I feel that very much from this image.
Beautifully done. And Colleen, is Colleen with us? Colleen Kelly? This is the piece that I was talking about before that is actually hanging next to the cat shot that we saw previously.
Which is so great. Again, just an image that I enjoy. It's that little moment you're at the right spot at the right time with your camera. As someone who has cats and they're always doing something interesting, I'm always trying to capture as much of it as I can. I don't know what for exactly, but I kind of can't help myself. So this one just kind of hits home for me because cats are sneaky. They're always kind of spying on you and watching you. And if you have a cat, you know that, out of the corner of your eye, you'll see them watching. And so it just felt something, that was quite familiar to me and hopefully to other people. And it's beautiful. I just love the gray curtain juxtaposed against the I think it's a calico or tabby. And then of course, the white wall that's partially in shadow. It just has a great sense of shape working with one another.
Yeah. Beautifully done, not at all cliche. Beautiful. Okay, next, Megan Kleitch, Amalga Sunset.
So this is another example of just a beautiful landscape. I want people to kind of stop doing what they're doing, stop looking at their phones, stop thinking about, all the tedium that we unfortunately get distracted by in our lives and just appreciate what's out there. And I think that so many people who, do live in urban areas that don't have this level of nature, they really do need it. And I find images like this really help do the natural world justice for those that aren't, living amongst it on a daily basis. And I feel like my breathing's a bit easier just kind of looking at this. Again, that beautiful sense of green, the beautiful sunset or sunrise, the reflection of the colors within the water. It's the form itself that the photographer chose to kind of have the hills embracing that body of water, and then the support of the green on the sides. I just think it's technically very beautifully done. It has an excellent composition, mood, color, and again, it makes you feel good, and it reminds you to get outside and take in as much nature as you can, if you can. Yes, and as Andrew mentioned in the comments, it has a very majestic quality to it.
I think in perspective really engages the viewer.
Yes.
Makes us there.
It gives you that visual path to follow.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, Kathleen LaRoque, Evening at Agua Caliente.
Caliente, yes.
Okay.
So I should mention that when I was looking at all these images, I had no idea who the artists were. I don't even know if the titles were present, and if they were, I wasn't paying attention to them because I was just paying attention to the images. again, the reflection in the landscape. I love that lone tree bark that's in the water there. I love the darkness of the water as it's closer to the bark, and then as it goes into a gradient further closer to the land. I'm sorry, a lighter color through gradient. It's a little haunting to me. It doesn't feel as relaxing as the others, and I wanted to have another contrast of landscape present because I like the mood that's here. I feel like it's evocative. The trees themselves are autumnal. Most of them have their leaves gone already. So that choice of I don't know how much manipulation, if any, was done here. Again, excuse my novice nature with respect to this.
Sure.
But it's just really beautiful. And in a very different way from all the others. It did stick out to me specifically for that reason. And I think that it's important that different moods are conveyed through the medium and through different, takes of the landscape during different times of, the year, through different places and so on. So I just, I really enjoy it.
Thank you. It's interesting you said kind of haunting because I don't know if anyone's traveled, lived, or been to southern Arizona and the Southwest. This was taken right outside of Tucson, Arizona, and the landscape there is just, it's anything but green and lush. And I used to have 2 dogs. I have one now, but I walk a lot. And so that's why an iPhone's perfect. But it's just, the evening, the time of day, and this branch kind of sticking out just really, it just captured my attention. So.
Yes. And Andrea, in comment, I see in the chat, said individual versus conforming, which I think she nailed it. That's, I think, so true, because that bark really, it stands out quite a bit amongst its family of other trees, and within the color, the shape, the form, all of it. So that's a great interpretation.
I find it's really interesting too, that the starkness of it is offset by that warm sepia color you have there. And even though it's such a limited palette, it's not a word I usually would use when I'm doing any kind of critique, but it's yummy. I mean, it is just, it really is. It's so inviting.
It's a beautiful choice of color.
It's a great visual for what's going on now, not to get into that, but because of the individuality of the branch in the front and the reflection in the back, which is conforming. I think it's a great image.
Nicely done.
Thank
Very
you.
nicely done. Congratulations, Kathleen, on being in the show.
Thank you very much.
John Lazaro, the Dome. I don't think John is here.
I think John, he's local, right? I think
John is from Huntington.
He is, so he also is at Firefly, because I think I've seen his work with Paul's.
Yes.
Yeah, so I know that like a lot of abandoned buildings and ruins are quite prominent within the photography world. I think that this one was a bit more special. I love the choice of location. I love almost the abstraction because of the ceiling itself, the paint disintegrating. I like reminders of the past, and I hope that, through reminders of the past such as this, we remember the mistakes and the growth we as a, society, as a, species have gone through, and hopefully will continue to pursue. But it also makes me a bit sad because I love old architecture, I love antiques, and I love times and objects from the past, because there was such a beautiful sense of integrity and respect and care that people were putting into, everything that they did. And, not to say that doesn't occur today, as it certainly does within artists and in some, creative trades as well, but you don't see it like you used to. I mean, buildings and homes are made of such cheap, fast-grown materials, and that lack of, integrity, is more prominent than it's ever been before, in my opinion. And so seeing these beautiful buildings fall into decay, it brings me up, because it reminds me of that time and that beauty and that history, but it also makes me quite sad. So it's, it's a tough image, but I think that it's important that it communicates both those emotions. And I imagine others, would hopefully feel the same way. And as far as technically speaking, I enjoy the cropping. I love the composition. I love that big glass dome with that warm light. And that, for me, even though there is some level of decay, it represents more so a sense of perseverance. that we all continue, especially now with times being as challenging as they've been for the last few years. And that, you know, the beauty still remains no matter how much gets chipped away at us as individuals or as a society. And so there's a lot of meaning here for me in this particular piece, as well as, of course, the excellence capture itself. So
it's a beautiful image. John just recently posted this on Instagram too, and his comment was very interesting because he does shoot in a lot of different abandoned places, and he was talking about in his comments being in this location and not getting what he wanted with his camera at that time and pulling out his iPhone and getting this. So,
and is it a temple or a synagogue? Because it looks like there's some kind of
Yes, there's actually a Jewish star at the top.
Is it? So it is, I think it's some sort of like house of worship.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, the churches, temples, synagogues, you know, these places of worship they're just such beautiful buildings, and thankfully many have been preserved, but just, you know, to see one like this, you know, it's kind of sad, but in a good way. It's important for art to make us feel different things aside from being happy and tranquil.
And that John is memorializing it with his photograph.
That's a great point, you know, for keeping it, the posterity of it going.
Next up, Tara Leal Porter, Sedona Weather. I don't think Tara is with us. It's a beautiful image.
It's very
classic.
beautiful. Absolutely. I mean, I could absolutely tell it's Sedona. I just love the palette. I love, again, I use the word a lot, but the tranquility and sense of peacefulness. I appreciate imagery like this more than ever because, again, living in challenging and darker times, it's majesty. And the way, again, sunset, sunrise, I can't tell the difference, but the way that the hills and do you call them, they're not like rock formations, or I don't know what the term for the rock structures are there. There's
they're called buttes a lot of time. Buttes.
Oh, sorry, hold on a second. What?
Buttes.
Sorry, my husband was checking in. So I didn't know that. I mean, I love the form and the shape that they create, as well as the hills, and I love the different senses of lighting, as well as the foreground being more in focus and having a bit more detail present. It feels forever, and I just really appreciated the way that it made me feel, and just the beauty of it. Again, reminding ourselves to appreciate what's around us and stop and take a breath.
It's beautiful. Okay, Stephen Levine, Unwrapped.
Hi.
Hi.
It's a great, I love the textures and the composition.
It wasn't just the cat this time for me. It was a bit. So as Pamela mentioned, it was the textures. I love like the crumple effect. I mean, if you have a cat, you all know that if you put any kind of paper bag down or box, they claim it instantly as their own. But because of the cropping of the image and not having more, if you don't have a cat, perhaps you don't know what it is that makes this wonderful texture. And so personal for me, personal choice, because, you know, my cats do the same thing, and it never gets old. But also I do appreciate the composition. I appreciate the texture of the paper.
Thank you. Obviously, all the credit goes to the subject and not to the photographer.
The real artist.
Yes, and I just want to point out that Sophie, who is actually a boy cat, but that's another story, was recently awarded first prize for another one of his photographs.
Oh,
and I'm on a roll with this model who works very cheap.
You found your muse.
I'm in for it. Thank you for your kind comments.
Oh,
I thank you for selecting this.
of course, it makes me very happy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and here we are with Chris again. Again, congratulations, Chris. It's a wonderful image. And Kelsey Mitchell, 8-2022.
I assume, I guess the date, the month and year. Is Kelsey with us, or?
I'm sorry?
Is Kelsey?
I don't think, Kelsey, are you here? I don't believe so.
No. So this is another example of just a different mood that the landscape provides us with. And I just the sky in particular in this one was just so moody, and it just, I don't know if it's, you know, again, not knowing much about like weather patterns or, things of that sort, it felt as if it could have been like the start or the end of a storm. I love the movement that's present beyond the clouds and that sense of light pouring out. I mean, you have these darker clouds and then you have this beautiful orange light just bursting from it. And I really appreciate the colors that play together, as well as the balance. It's just the heavy sky, but then you also have kind of this heavy foreground with what obviously is not in focus, which I think it's much better in that sense because it allows for more mystery and more imagination to break down the image. But and then you have that building in the back, or those buildings. I don't know if they're houses or what, but I really enjoyed the opening between the two symmetric buildings that are side by side. That almost, again, I guess I like the word eternity. It just feels like, things continue to go and there's more to come. And yeah.
This was one of the pieces in the show that I particularly enjoyed. Well, Paul and I enjoyed like figuring out the placement, because there is such a difference in the moods and the breathing space and what's happening both visually and how the images feel in the gallery. And this one is very different. There are other images with either sunsets or sunrises, and this one just had a different kind of power. Nice.
Andrew in the comments said that the reflection, it grounds the ethereal, and it, again, is a spot on point. I mean, the sky feels very ethereal. It feels, magical and maybe a menacing or maybe in a hopeful way. It's not quite clear, but then you have this, very solid, grounds and bridge and structures supporting it. And then you have its integration within that reflection. And so it's done so nicely.
I'm just taking a minute here and look to see if there is anything else that I see someone said, need to give myself a cat muse.
I have 5 in case you need it.
Okay, any other comments? Right, the next one, Dutch Myers, Fun Clouds.
Yes. Again, it's that abstraction for me. I mean, nature itself is abstract in so many different ways, and I just love the sense of movement, and the palette's limited, which I think was a very smart choice. I mean, of course, that's probably how it appeared. I don't know if there were any alterations done, but the contrast of that darker blue that almost is devoid of color against like that softness of white, it's just very engaging. And it just, I don't know, I'm not someone who leans towards the abstract typically. In fact, I don't understand most of it, and I don't like most of it, to tell you the truth. But I think in respect to nature and photography, it's important to capture what we see and we understand so quickly and well in it through a different perspective. Yes, Andrew, Cloud Ballet is a beautiful way of I think coining the image, and I like that title a bit more than the artist's title. But it's just, not everything is what it appears, and we, our eyes just and our brains put stuff together as we know it is. And so it's really interesting, and I think very beneficial to look at a smaller moment of of life, of everyday objects, as we saw in a couple slides back, and see it in a different perspective and help us learn and approach things in new perspectives and keep an open mind.
Terrific. And Michelle Nickerson, Spiral Down.
So again, another example of my love for beautiful buildings and architecture and interior design in this sense. The perspective's a little bit jarring, because I think we've all been up on high stairs before, looking down and felt ourselves kind of like fall back because of the weirdness and the dizziness of such heights. And I just thought the curvature, the selection of the location, I don't know if it's a mosaic or wallpaper or painted along the wall, but that busyness in contrast with the very symmetrical and balanced staircase, and then the continuation of that spiral effect. It's very alluring, and I found myself very drawn to it. The perspective, as Gareth mentioned in the chat, it sucks you in, and it has this kind of like weird vortex effect. And again, like looking at things that we already know what they are and kind of seeing them within other contexts. This image definitely does that for me too.
It's very elegant as well.
It is that fixture hanging down like that, and even the shape of the fixture, it's like, I don't know if it's like an octagon or some kind of multi-sided form, but it is quite interesting.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous piece.
Pam.
And the last piece we have, last but not least, by Pamela Peters, called Rays of Light.
Give me 2 seconds. I just need to grab a charger for my laptop. Hold on 1 sec.
Oh, yes, okay. But while Erica is getting her charger, folks, I gotta tell you, I am just absolutely thrilled with the commentary that Erica has been giving us on each and every piece, her insight. She's been very generous in talking about the works, and I'm equally really happy to hear from those of you who are here to hear a little bit about your process and to get your feedback as well. If you haven't seen the show yet, and you can make it to the gallery, please come by. Erica, let me know when you're all set up again.
I'm good.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
My cord wouldn't reach where I was before. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is the last slide, right? Is this the last slide? Oh, wow, that was fast. Okay, so again, this, the image itself captures a lot of what I've mentioned with other artist work that we discussed already. This one I thought just had a phenomenal sense of light. The beams, which for me never gets old, whether I'm inside or outside, just seeing those rays of light come out, it's fills you with warmth, it fills you with hope. It's just beautiful. And I just love the funneling effect, if you will, whether it's bursting outward or coming inward. And I mean, of course, it's bursting outward. And
Another person said hers is not there too.
I'm sorry?
You missing someone?
Yeah, I'm Brenda Welty. Mine's not there, and it looks like Nancy's is not there also.
Oh, we have a couple more there.
We do have more. Sorry.
Oh,
sorry about that. I thought that was it. Sorry, that was all me.
Hold on. That's why are we jumping around? Just a minute. I'm not sure. Just a minute, please.
Oh yeah, we have a bunch left.
Let's see. Here we go. Yes, we have we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 8.
I think I see mine.
So you're there. You're definitely there. We wouldn't leave you out.
Sorry about that. I thought it was the end, and I was like, that was very fast.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, so anyway, I just the majesty, the colors, the sense of movement and continuousness that those rays of light project, and the feeling of hope and beauty that, as one day ends, another, will come, and that, we can't dwell on these little trivial things, no matter how untrivial they feel to us at the time, because, the next day happens, and mostly, at least, the world has moved on in many cases. And so I just like the idea of hope, of revival, of continuation. It just felt very positive, and it echoes time. And I just appreciate it from that perspective, as well as the visual, the colors,
I love your comment about the rays going both ways.
What would you say? Like, is it a funnel effect? Is that how you would describe it? Because it's like, I don't know what, I'm sorry, it's like I worked all day, so my words aren't coming to me as they should. Just the way that, like, the rays of light, they're protruding outward from the sun, and the sun it's so insignificant visually in this image because it's so tiny, although it's quite bright. It's not something you notice right away, and the lights just transcend beyond that, and it feels a little heavenly, a little celestial, if you will. And so
it's emanating from a single source, but it's encapsulating everything that it touches up above.
Yes, and it's such a tiny source in this moment and the way that it's been depicted, but it's just it's gigantic, and it's very powerful.
Beautifully done. Okay, and then we have Jaleesa again, who I'm sorry, I don't think she was ever able to connect. And this is Alyssa here. This is the same cottage that Chris photographed, and talk about a different rendition.
Yes, and that's why I wanted to include both, because I like the different perspectives, I like the different artistic approaches, and I think that for people coming in to see artwork, it's important to be able to see the same subject in a different light through someone else's lens, both metaphorically and figuratively. And so I felt like she also did a very beautiful job. She captured the cottage at a wonderful time of day with a wonderful blue sky. The level of reflection is gorgeous too. mean, I don't know, maybe I've seen this image before without even realizing it. And so I have this sense of familiarity to it. But I like the difference in approaches. And I felt like it was important in the show itself to kind of have these different techniques.
Yeah. I'm not sure how many people immediately realized that it was the same image or this, excuse me, the same location.
16 by 20.
Pardon me? And it's anyway, I love having the two interpretations in this show.
I mean, you know, we all see things so differently. So it's so important to be reminded of that and appreciate.
Roy Schneider, sunrise at the end. That could be the end of many things.
It certainly can be. And I think that metaphorically it could represent the end in so many different ways too. I mean, you know, the ocean, the sea, the sound over here on Long Island, it seems endless, you know, even if you see land very far off in the distance, that land itself is almost abstracted and it still feels like everything keeps going forever. And so I really liked the moment that he captured. I, of course, love those rays of light coming out from the sun that's nestled behind the clouds. And I love the texture of the rocks and just the fogginess and almost like kind of the ethereal nature of, you know, everything kind of go, I don't know, I guess it's like a fogginess, which I've seen before. So I think that this may have been the case, although it could have been altered. But for me, it just represents life and death. I've always, you know, I can't remember, I mean, when I lost my mother a long time ago, someone had told me some story about like some like ship sailing. And although you were no longer seeing that ship after a while because it went beyond the horizon that you were able to see visually, that ship was always still there. And it was a representation of those that we've lost, that although they're not like physically within our view, perhaps they're still with us in some shape, way, or form. So for me, this kind of reminded me of it. And the fact that that sun with those lights exists far beyond and over the horizon made me feel like this was kind of like a path that connected myself and people in general, those that we've lost, to make us feel like those tethers are still there, even though we can't see them. And maybe they're there for a moment visually, and perhaps we'll miss them almost all the time. They're there. And I just found it so just, you know, personal, but intimate, and I think universal all at the same time. And this is just a beach, you know, that I've walked on similar beaches all the time, and I never really saw them in that way before. And this image really kind of created that feeling and that narrative for me. And so I very much appreciated that.
I think for me, I think a successful image is one like this that allows for a lot of personal interpretation, but also somehow reaches out and connects, pulls out something personal in the viewer, like what you're describing.
And even if like my, you know, interpretation is quite personal, I feel like this is an interpretation that sharing with all of you, you know, we've all lost people, and, you know, you don't know if they're around in any sense because we don't have the knowledge or the understanding as such. And so it's, yeah, I really enjoy it. And I hope that it gives everyone a sense of connectivity and warmth to those that they've lost too.
Next, Nancy Ward, Stockdale Mill. Is Nancy here?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Sorry. In 10 minutes, I have to run to my garage really quick. I'm really sorry. I have a delivery that wouldn't reschedule, but it'll be very fast. So I just want to give you guys the heads up because he's 10 minutes away.
Okay, thank you.
But I will be right back, and I apologize for that. I couldn't get him to come any other time. So, and I know it's at 9 o'clock at night. It's an antique furniture delivery. So I don't know what the timing about that is, but anyway, so I wanted to have some monochromatic landscapes present in the show as well. They just execute a different type of mood and feeling, and I thought that it was important to have the grandeur, the beautiful palettes that are present within our nature, but also kind of creating and controlling the way that an image feels, similar to one of the earlier images that we saw of the Apollo Theater that was, you know, in I think Virginia, the artist had mentioned. There's just something about removing the color from an image that is normally so filled with color that really creates a different narrative and a different feel. And I thought that the choice of this building, of this landscape, again, that body of water with that beautiful reflection, and the flowers just in the foreground, setting that stage, it allows for a lot of different interpretations, different amounts of moods, and so on. And so, I don't know, I wanted it as contrast. I thought it was beautifully done, great composition, great location. And so, yeah.
Thank
Nancy,
you for
are you here? Nancy?
I am here.
Oh, yes. Would you like to share something about your work?
No, I just really appreciate her review of that, and it really helps me develop more as a photographer. So thank you very much.
Of course. I mean, the buildings themselves are really awesome. I mean, that reflection of that smaller barn, or I'm not sure what that is exactly, is just that I like the scale of it, and I like how white it is compared to the larger structure that feels a bit more old. I don't know where this location is and what the story behind that is, but it makes me think, and it makes my imagination go.
Thank you.
I love the way you use the reflection to tie the foreground and the middle ground together, but the graininess and the clouds and the background gives us a sense of depth at the same time. I'm very partial to black and white work, so I love this piece.
The reflection tying in the foreground and the background. That didn't occur to me, but it's an excellent point, and I really appreciate that too.
You should see it in color. It's even more stunning.
Ah.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Nancy.
Thank you.
Okay, and Brenda Welty, I know you're here. This is a stunner too, and it really does look like this in the gallery.
It's the colors. It's a urging. I mean, it's ethereal and it's dreamy and otherworldly, and I enjoy like paranormal images and images that are, you know, whimsical and fantastical, and for me it creates worlds within worlds, and I think this demonstrates that beautifully. And I just love your color selection. I love this kind of entity that you created through these floral branches, and the choice of the stained glass you know, within the door itself, the transom and the door details, and how it does feel like an older house, which of course resonates with me quite a bit. So I'd love to know about how you achieve this effect and this beautiful palette.
Hi, thank you very much. This photograph, I love old buildings and architecture. I take a lot of photographs of this type of thing, and a lot of the imagery used in this one image has been taken at different locations, and it basically kind of evolved as I was building it. It wasn't something that I knew I had a portal type situation that I wanted to create, but just kind of like went through the images that I had, and this is what happened. You know, so I just wanted, I was very happy with the result. Obviously, I like the reflection of the orchids on the door and the sky, the dreamy kind of thing where you feel like you could just like step into it like you want to.
Yes.
So thank you. I appreciate the comments.
It's so otherworldly, and you know, loving historic homes and older buildings. You know, sometimes you walk into these spaces, and at least for me, I feel almost overwhelmed. And I'm not a spiritual person or a religious person or anything of that sort, but I just feel this presence of I don't know what exactly, and it doesn't happen all the time, but it's just it makes you think about all the life and the memories and the history and all the people all before us that existed in these spaces. And it's just it's sad, but it's also uplifting at the same time, because you remember and you appreciate all that was and is. And so
yeah, I agree with you. I'm very drawn to these older buildings for some reason. It's just, you can feel a sense of, you know, people were here and they left their mark, their spirit is still there. Like you can,
so weird.
I just can't really put it into words, but I feel you.
I'm glad, and I could feel that through here. So I'm very happy to hear that you've had that experience too.
Brenda, I have a question. By any chance, is this part of a series?
No, I actually had started to do a portal series. I might pick it back up. I kind of like put it to the side for a little bit, but I definitely, this encouraged me to kind of go in that direction. But yeah,
I love the image for what it is, but I almost am like asking myself, okay, so what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has me wondering.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think we're gonna come to see the gallery next Probably next weekend. I'll have to check the gallery hours.
Okay, the last date for the show is on Saturday, the 12th.
Okay. All right.
Okay, unless you come to Paul Mealy's artist talk on the 13th. I believe his talk is from 2 to 4, so the gallery will be open then, and he's going to be fascinating to actually. Oh my, you would really enjoy his talk because he is going to be he photographs abandoned places, but his imagery is very much about evoking memories in the presence of what was there before. You might find it fascinating.
Yeah, I actually looked him up on Instagram. His images are beautiful. I was definitely intrigued by it.
Okay. But congratulations for being in our phonography show.
Thank you.
And the last one again, because they're also in alphabetical order, was Trisha Wright's Untitled. Now, I want to make sure, please, is there anyone here whose image that we did not show on our screen? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, we are located in Huntington on West Carver Street between Portofino Restaurant and the Shed. And please come and visit us. I want to go back to the top and thank you again, Erika, not only for being our juror, but I'm so not just impressed. I'm feeling inspired by hearing your comments about the thought that went into your selections. Very in depth, lots of insight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Of course. It was my pleasure. I'm really happy that you asked me and that I'm able to meet so many of you and hear more about the background behind your choices and your technique. So thank you. And you guys, again, everyone did an amazing job, gallery and artists.
Does anyone have any other questions for Erika?
No, I appreciate it very much. I really do.
I don't have a
I
question.
totally appreciated it.
Go ahead. Just a comment that it's really nice to be able to get feedback on kind of why it was selected, because you usually don't get that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always nice to be selected, but it's I think additionally wonderful to understand kind of why. So thank you for putting this together.
And if I can say that I truly appreciate Erika's articulation of why she chose what she chose. I know a lot of us feel things, but it's hard to put them into words. I would love to be able to do, what you do. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful job.
All you guys have to do is express yourselves, and then you just leave the interpretations to everyone else. And yeah, it's a very special experience.
So please take a look again on our Facebook page, Fotofoto Gallery. That's with lowercase f's. For those of you who are wondering, I will still be posting more of the pictures from the reception we had at the gallery. It was a dynamite reception. We were packed. Lots of enthusiasm, great conversations. I read Erika's statement at the reception, and thank you to those of you who came. But please check out our Facebook page, check out our Instagram, our website. And I can't thank you enough for everybody for attending and for being, participating so much. It was very rewarding.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pam.
It was wonderful.
Very much.
Congratulations to everybody.
Nice to meet everybody.
Great work, everyone.
Okay, everyone,
Great to meet you.
stay safe and hope to see you soon in the gallery.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
Good
good
night.
night. Bye-bye.
Good night now.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.